Retirement, isn't it grand? Isn't it wonderful? Well, it can be wonderful. It is one of life's great transitions. And for certainly during the initial couple of years, many people really struggle with it, particularly people who are committed to their careers. They don't know what to do with themselves, and they don't plan it. You've done a great job for them. They're financially set. And yet, my cousin Bob, New York City cop, 34 years, got loaded up with all the last year's overtime. Even he thinks it's disgusting, but you can't blame him for taking it. Ends up with a retirement package that is far in excess of what he ever made as a cop, except the last year where he got all the overtime in the precinct. He's down in Florida now with $13,000 a month, plus health care, inflation protected for life. You wonder why the cities are in trouble. Pretty good package, huh? What do you think? Pretty good package. So I said to him, man, you must have been happy the day you retired. He said, I was scared to death. Scared to death. I was scared for the first 2 years. Didn't know what to do with myself. Didn't know where to go. Great big hunking guy, scared to death. It can be great, and you've got to open the conversation. Those of you that got the book, almost every question in that book you can say about retirement to it. You've got to get them to start talking about the personal side of retirement. By the way, has anybody here ever heard of an advisor losing their clients when they retired? Because they run into somebody who claims to be a retirement specialist? Now, there are retirement specialists, but that won't happen to you if you open the conversation about the human side of retirement, because it isn't always great. It isn't always great for people. It's a major transition. Now, you say this to a 50, 55-year-old person, and they'll say, look, I got no problem figuring out what I'm going to do when I retire. Just make sure I got enough money. Can't you hear him saying that? Some of you feel that way, right? No problem. Whoa, I'm good. And when you talk to focus groups of people who've been retired for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, boy, you learn a lot. They say that it is true. The first few months of retirement for a lot of people is wonderful. It's the long vacation you never got to take. And then reality starts hitting. And you start to look at the human issues. Little things happen, just little things. You know, they don't return your phone calls. You call your office where you worked for 33 years and a new receptionist asks you to spell your name. That's what the focus groups told us. These are the shocks that hit you like, oh my God. The old saw on retirement was, and this is the old, maybe accurate at the time, that it's easier for women, but not professional women. One of our focus groups had a number of professional women. We asked her what it was like for them, and this one woman said, I had to learn a new language. You had to learn a new language. I thought she was talking about, I don't know if you read these things, the way to put off Alzheimer's and that sort of stuff is to learn to play a musical instrument, learn a new language, activate your brain, fire things around. That's where I thought she was going. Oh, no, she said, not that at all. She said, I had to learn a new language. She said, I always dressed nicely, always did my hair, but I never talked about it. Now, I'm 80 years old. My husband's gone. A lot of the men are gone. I'm with women. And they talk about cards, fashion. They talk about hair salons. They talk about things I've never taught. I had to learn the language. It was an enormous shock in order to have friends. These are the kinds of things that happen to people in retirement. They feel purposeless. And this guy, this is the best quote. There were two great quotes in the focus groups that I loved. This was one. This fellow who was very wealthy said, I'd pay somebody to give me a job. I'd pay somebody to give me a job. And all I'm suggesting you do, I'm not suggesting you become a therapist, but open the conversation. Tell them that they ought to start thinking about these things ahead of time. Tell them that the day they retire, they should have a plan not just for their money, but for their life. And then we get the whole issue of retirement that the industry has been focusing on for a little while now. Whoa, boy, has that changed. You go back to 1950. Do you know what? There were two phases to life, two periods in the game of life. Kid and work. And you go back to 1900 and you can take out most of the kid because they worked too. That was life. Few people retired when they absolutely couldn't work anymore or happened to be very rich. That was really rare. But now it's not 2 periods anymore. Now so it used to be 2 periods and sudden death overtime. Now it's 3 full periods. And people aren't ready for it. Even if you did a good job for them, even if they've got all the money in the world, many people are not ready for the human side of what it is to retire. And with all the changes and all the things happening, do you know what you should do? Do you know what you should do? I mean, really, do you know what you should do? You should shake his head. I don't know. Now, the definitive answer to that one is about what? Do I know what I should do about what? So let's take something that used to be easy. What's your name, sir? Jim, you want to go to the movies tonight? Now, Jim, you sure? Jim, when you and I grew up, at least when I grew up, that was a yes or no answer. How many movies were theaters where they were within range? 1. How many movies did they play? Now, sometimes they had a double billing, but you either went or you didn't go. I live in Boulder, Colorado, a small city. Within 15 minutes of my house, there are 46 screens. The last time I looked, they were playing 17 different movies. I need an advisor to pick a movie.